So far, the Jurassic World franchise has released 6 parts, and the one that has come out today is the 7th part, titled Jurassic World Rebirth. If we try to connect or compare this movie with the previous ones, this film stands on its own. It's not connected to any of the earlier movies at all. The only familiar thing you'll see are the dinosaurs. In the previous movies, there were bits of connectivity, like who was someone's daughter, who was someone's boyfriend, and returning characters from earlier films. But this one is completely standalone. This movie is entirely focused on dinosaurs and concepts related to them. So if you're wondering whether you need to watch the older movies first, the answer is no, not at all. This time, I'm not going to say that you need to understand the old movies to enjoy this one. You can totally enjoy it individually. You'll get to see many amazing new dinosaurs, and the movie has stunning visuals, especially in 3D dot. If you plan to watch it in theaters with your family, it'll be a great experience. It's a proper family entertainer. It's Jurassic Park after all. So without making you wait any longer, let's not try to connect it to the older storyline and begin this completely individual movie. We are shown a scene from many years ago where a completely separate island had been created. You could say this island was purely for experiments. Dinosaurs were kept there, along with a team of lab scientists. These scientists were working on dinosaur mutations. Mutation here means altering or modifying a dinosaur's genetic structure through gene therapy, extracting genes and making changes within the dinosaurs. So that's what was happening on this island. But the people there had no idea that one small mistake could lead to a massive disaster. The year was 2010. Something was going on inside the lab. One guy was eating a chocolate bar, and by mistake, he dropped a wrapper, which got stuck in the door mechanism. As a result, the main security system went down. The doors didn't close properly. Normally, when someone entered the area, it was done under full safety protocols. But now, since the control system was malfunctioning, the doors failed to shut. Inside, there was a huge T-Rex, but not a normal one. It had been genetically mutated. This T-Rex became uncontrollable. The doors remained open, and one man got trapped inside. Because of that, he ended up losing his life. Even though it was technically his fault, he should have been more careful with the wrapper, especially in a place full of dinosaurs. After this, the story jumps to the year 2027, 2 years into the future from now. We see a world where dinosaurs already exist and live among humans. They're seen roaming in jungles and even walking on roads. Seeing a dinosaur is no longer a big deal. It has become a normal thing because all these dinosaurs are now family-friendly dinosaurs. That means they're familiar. They don't harm people. Here, we see a man named Martin, whose car already has a girl sitting in it. That girl is Zora, the same Zora Martin was looking for. She's a former commander and also has a lot of knowledge about dinosaurs. Martin approaches her with a mission, and to convince her, he offers her a huge amount of money, enough that she would never have to work again. Even though the mission is risky, Zora is exactly the kind of candidate who's ready to take such risks. She can also form a team and complete the mission with her members. In the beginning, Martin doesn't give her full information, but broadly tells her that it's about a cancer therapy project, one that involves dinosaurs. They both then go to meet Dr. Henry, who currently works at a museum. Dr. Henry's entire focus is on dinosaur synthesis, studying how they grow, where they go, how they mutate, how they evolve, and how they die. Basically, he's obsessed with dinosaurs. To him, dinosaurs are everything. Martin also offers Dr. Henry a good amount of money to join the mission. After all, they're trying to find a cure for cancer. But what's that even mean? Through their discussion, we learn why they need dinosaur DNA in particular, because dinosaurs used to live for very long periods. If they use DNA samples from such long-living creatures, any medicine developed from it could cure diseases faster. And since dinosaurs are such massive creatures, imagine how big their hearts must be, how large their veins must be. Within those lies the secret of how they survived for so long. If we can understand that and give a new life to humans, freeing them from cancer and countless other diseases, now this DNA won't be found in dinosaurs roaming nearby. They'll have to travel to a different island where they'll encounter completely new kinds of dinosaurs. After being offered a good amount of money and some light comedy, Henry finally agrees. They all reach the port, where Zora's team is already waiting. There, we meet a guy named Duncan, who owns his own boat and has his own team. Duncan also pretends to hesitate because he wants a good deal of money from Martin. Eventually, everyone agrees to go. So Martin sets out with his entire team to a restricted island, a place where the government has strictly forbidden people from going. Why? Because the island is inhabited only by dinosaurs, and they are extremely dangerous. If you go in alive, there's no guarantee you'll come back the same way. That's also why Duncan and his crew demanded such a large amount of money. Now Duncan takes off with his boat. He's joined by two teammates, a guy named Bobby, who's fully responsible for their safety, and Nina, the co-pilot, who's great at controlling the boat. They begin by deciding which dinosaur to collect the first sample from. Honestly, even the people on board aren't exactly sure which island they're headed to, or what their exact mission will be. Their first target is a dinosaur that lives underwater, the largest species of marine dinosaur. This creature can also come onto land, but in water its speed, length, and capacity are unmatched. It's a truly remarkable predator. This dinosaur is called the Mosasaurus Doctor. Henry explains the special equipment they brought to collect its sample. They have an injection tool, and to hit the Mosasaurus with it, they'll need to stay within just 10 meters of it. The family was sitting happily on the boat, chatting, laughing, and enjoying themselves. But suddenly, from a distance, they spotted a dinosaur, one that seemed to be moving toward the middle of the river. Reuben said there was no need to panic and that they would leave the area quickly, but soon, the dinosaur started approaching at a terrifying speed. This wasn't the same dinosaur whose sample everyone was supposed to collect. This was a different one. Its name was Spinosaurus. Within moments, the dinosaur came dangerously close to the boat, ready to hunt, and suddenly attacked. The boat flipped over in no time. Xavier was inside the lower cabins, and the doors got shut. Reuben tried his best to save him, but couldn't open the door. Teresa and Bella climbed up to safety. The Spinosaurus was just about to kill Xavier, but at the last moment, Xavier broke the door and escaped. All four somehow managed to survive. Later in the evening, Zora was seen getting emotional. She had so much left to do in life, and she had lost her husband too. At that moment, Dr. Henry came and sat beside her. They started talking. Just then, Martin walked in and joined the conversation. He tried to reassure Zora, telling her that the work they were doing was truly meaningful and that she was a strong woman who could handle her life well. The next morning, as they resumed their journey, they suddenly heard cries for help. Someone was stuck in the water. It was a family, and maybe they could be saved. Martin, who had funded the entire mission and technically owned the site, said the island they were heading to was very close and they shouldn't miss the opportunity. They needed to reach there as soon as possible, but Zora insisted they couldn't just leave the kid's family behind. They had the chance to rescue them and could return to the island afterward.
What's the problem in that?
Duncan, who was Zora's close friend and also the captain, listens to her and turns the ship around. Soon, they managed to rescue all four people who were stuck. After the rescue, Reuben and his family explained how they encountered the Spinosaurus, massive and terrifying predators. They were lucky to survive. Someone even asked Reuben if he's lost his mind, taking two young girls into the middle of the ocean, but they had just lost their way. Still, the big question remained, what was this company really doing out here? Reuben asked them directly if they were here to experiment with the dinosaurs, but before anyone can explain, the very Mosasaurus they were trying to collect a sample from appears right beside them. Zora quickly runs to the front and tries to take aim. A high-paced action sequence follows. During the chase, Zora even dangles off the edge for a moment, but somehow manages to pull herself back up. Then, just 10 meters away, she takes a perfect shot. The injection hits, and the DNA sample is successfully collected. The DNA is secured inside a parachute-like container. Everyone is thrilled. They finally have what they came for. Their first victory, their first DNA sample. But it wasn't over yet. The Spinosauruses in the water launch a brutal attack on them. People start falling all over the place. Duncan realizes that if he steers the ship into the rocky hills, the Spinosauruses might not be able to follow because they need deeper water. However, there's a huge risk the boat could crash into rocks. But he decides to take the chance as the boat started shaking violently. Almost on the verge of crashing, Reuben tells his elder daughter, Teresa, to go and make an emergency call. Teresa rushes to do it, but Martin, who was conducting this mission unofficially, realizes that if the authorities find out, he could be in serious trouble. Out of fear, he pushes Teresa before she can make the call. Teresa falls straight into the ocean. She tries hard to survive. It's not enough. Martin doesn't even try to save her. Watching Teresa drown, her boyfriend Javier doesn't waste a second. He jumps right into the water after her. Seeing all this, Reuben realizes that the boat is going to crash anyway. It's better to jump into the water than die in a wreck. So he grabs his younger daughter Bella and jumps in too. Now the entire family is in the ocean, hoping they'll somehow reach an island. After all, they were told there's a village on the nearby island, but now they know they were lied to. Meanwhile, Captain Duncan is speeding the boat straight toward the Rocky Mountains. He knows it might crash, but what else could he do? At the same time, Zora and the rest of the crew begin packing the emergency supplies. Point one by one, Dr. Henry, Zora, and the others begin jumping off the boat. But then something horrifying happens. Bobby, who was actively fighting off the Spinosauruses, gets snatched and eaten alive by one of the dinosaurs. His sudden death leaves everyone in shock. They just lost a man right in front of their eyes. Moments later, the boat crashes headfirst into the Rocky Mountains. Now the atmosphere turns extremely intense. All the family members somehow manage to reunite with each other safely. There's no issue in that. But as soon as they reach the beach, people start unloading supplies. Just then, Nina, who was in charge of all the supplies, gets snatched away by a Spinosaurus. That means within moments, 2 people die right in front of everyone. Now the group is absolutely terrified. Even after making it inside safely, everyone's still thinking, how are we going to collect samples from the remaining dinosaurs? And more importantly, how are we going to make it out alive? There are too many questions and no clear answers. He keeps reassuring the kids, saying they'll leave this place as soon as possible because there has to be a village nearby. But when Javier looks around at the greenery and nature surrounding them, he becomes mesmerized. He thinks, even if I die now, I've never seen anything more beautiful in my life. Meanwhile, Martin starts to get really anxious. He hadn't made any backup plan, but Zora, who was from the army, and Duncan, who already knew a lot about the mission, had come prepared with a solid backup strategy. They revealed that a chopper is scheduled to arrive in 24 hours. It will land at a small station on the island, but it will only stay for about 2 minutes. Since they have no cellular service or means of contact, the chopper won't land properly. It will hover briefly because even the pilots fear for their lives. Huge dinosaurs roam this island, and the helicopter itself could get destroyed. Only then does Martin feel a little bit relieved, knowing that the chopper is at least coming. But now the group has a clear task. But in the next 24 hours, they must collect samples from 2 different dinosaurs. Now here in the middle, we also see Ruben's family, who were moving forward cautiously and fearfully. At the same time, we see Zora, Dr. Henry, and the others 2. Martin, who was now extremely scared, so much so they didn't even know if he cared about his own life anymore, saw huge dinosaurs emerging from below and surrounding them. They quickly started climbing up and tried to move ahead because they had to save their lives and collect the DNA. During this, Martin spots a crashed aircraft, and in the hand of its captain was a gun. He immediately picks it up and keeps it with him, knowing that an emergency could strike at any moment. Meanwhile, in Ruben's family, Ruben was sleeping with his daughters nearby, while Xavier kept watch. Ruben felt deeply grateful to Xavier, because if Xavier hadn't been there, Teresa might not have survived. The moment Teresa fell, Xavier had jumped in to save her. But Xavier humbly said that he didn't know why this was happening to him. That's when Ruben tells him, "You're a genuinely good boy. That's why this is happening to you." Xavier then goes out into the open to relieve himself, a decision that turned out to be the worst of his life. At the same time, we see little Bella, who was being approached by a tiny dinosaur. It had been circling her for a while and now came close enough to even sit beside her. We see Xavier again, now being attacked by small reptiles, mini dinosaurs that could have killed him. But just then, a giant dinosaur swoops in from above. This was the 3rd dinosaur, the flying one. It lifts the smaller dinosaurs into the air, saving Xavier, whose heart nearly stopped from the fear. By the next morning, the survivors, or Dr. Henry, Duncan, and Martin, are seen walking through a massive field. Bobby and Nina had died, but one more man had survived and was walking with them. Suddenly, they see giant tails in the distance. So massive, it looked like a head or something even bigger could appear. It was a breathtaking moment. Then they realize it's a second dinosaur whose DNA they need to collect. Its name is Titanosaurus, a land-dwelling dinosaur and one of the largest dinosaurs to ever exist. While TRex is big in its own right, just look at the length and size of Titanosaurus. It's absolutely majestic. Look at the size of its tail. What a calm and peaceful dinosaur this one is. They had to collect its sample too, so first they admired it, observed it closely, and in the end, took a shot to collect its DNA. Now it was time for the 3rd dinosaur, the most dangerous one so far. Here, we see Ruben's family moving forward, but suddenly, one of them slips and they all tumble down a slope. That's when they spot a small lab ahead. They think maybe they'll find an emergency kit or a boat there, but reaching that place wasn't without danger. Obviously, little Bella couldn't go, and back when they were on the ship, she almost fell, but Ruben saved her, hurting his leg badly in the process. He could barely walk now. So Teresa quickly heads off to get the boat. As she walks calmly across the bridge, she smells something strange. She looks around and sees a dinosaur lying dead nearby. But when she turns around, there's another dinosaur sleeping peacefully, just like a dog, enjoying its nap. Teresa carefully moves forward and finally spots an emergency kit. It was a boat. She somehow manages to pull it along, but it's clear the dinosaur could wake up at any moment and kill her. She quickly unfolds the boat, hoping to get them out of there. But just then, the sleeping dinosaur vanishes from its place and suddenly appears right in front of Teresa. Her entire family manages to get into the boat just in time. But by then, the dinosaur gets distracted and charges toward them with full speed. There comes a moment when it almost kills them, but all of them fall out of the boat because the dinosaur flipped it over. As they drift forward, the current pushes them into a narrow area between the mountains, but little Bella is still underwater. She was holding on to the boat. Ruben, Teresa, and Xavier somehow managed to swim to a safer spot, but just like a dinosaur playing with a toy, this one starts playing with Bella's boat. It grabs her boat too. Thankfully, Bella swims away and moves forward, leaving the dinosaur behind. Now we see Zora, Dr. Henry, and the others who have reached a rocky cliff. The third dinosaur, named Quetzalcoatlus, is a flying one that lays its eggs deep inside rock crevices. But they can't collect a sample from the dinosaur itself. It would be a suicide mission, so they decide to collect DNA from one of its eggs. Somewhere inside that huge crack, they might find one, so they tie themselves together with ropes. Dr. Henry had never done such intense rock climbing before. He was terrified, but mustering his courage, they move ahead and eventually find a crack that might lead them to the eggs. At first, they weren't sure, but once they got inside, it became clear. They had found the right spot. Dr. Henry quickly collects the third DNA sample. Meanwhile, Laker, who was standing guard outside, was helping them with the rope, managing things from above. Duncan and Martin were waiting at the top, ready to pull them up. Just as Dr. Henry takes the sample, the parent of the egg, possibly the mother or father, arrives. It's Quetzalcoatlus, and it looks absolutely terrifying. Unlike anything they've seen before, it's huge, it's flying, and it's extremely dangerous. Without a second's delay, it begins attacking Laker from above. Laker was trying to climb the rack. From above, Duncan and Martin were trying to pull him up because even after coming inside, he had caused a lot of destruction. Somehow, Zora and Dr. Henry were saved, but the sample slipped from Dr. Henry's hand. The creature keeps swinging inside and grabs the sample too, but suddenly the rope breaks and the creature falls straight down. But the scene above was much worse. Poor Laker did climb up, but not alive. Quetzalcoatl had eaten him. However, Duncan and Martin found the path. It was a staircase, and they used it to descend downwards. By now, Zora had also come down, and finally, they had the third sample as well. So overall, things were coming together. Only one thing was left, their exit, and that too safely into the chopper and escape from here. Meanwhile, we also see Ruben's family, who had been swimming in the boat and had come quite far. Eventually, they too found the same lab, which had been abandoned and shut down. But they managed to reach the lab just in time. Inside, they didn't find anyone. They thought that surely someone would be there to help them dot on the other side. Zora, Dr. Henry, Duncan, and Martin had also reached the same place. Now, they started remembering the family, thinking they must have floated this way and come here. If they could rescue them too, that would be great. But Martin wasn't interested at all. He just wanted to make sure they didn't miss the chopper. He just wanted to leave. But Zora and Duncan go out to look for the kids, thinking if they could find them, it would be great. While shouting and searching, finally everyone finds each other. As soon as Teresa sees Martin, she gets furious. She yells, "This is the man who left me to die. I was drowning, and he didn't even save me." She angrily moves toward him, but Martin had a gun in his hand. Everyone starts calming each other down. Zora asks, "Why do you even have a gun in your hand? Why did you bring a gun?" Martin replies, "There are so many dinosaurs around here. Anyone would want some safety." Overall, Teresa was extremely angry. Until now, things were calm. But within a few moments, all the lights in the place suddenly turn on. Maybe it was connected to the solar plant and turns on every night. So obviously, if there are humans around, dinosaurs will eventually get attracted to them. And that's exactly what happens. All the dinosaurs hear the sound and see the light, and they start coming towards the location. Everything goes into chaos. Some dinosaurs enter from one side, some from another. Everyone's just trying to save their lives. Point one group runs into a mall. Mostly Ruben's entire family, all four of them, take shelter inside the mall. A couple of dinosaurs were about to get in too. But little Bella hides inside a freezer so the dinosaurs can't spot her. Even her mini dinosaur, who was always by her side, was helplessly nearby. Meanwhile, Dr. Henry and Duncan reached a lab that was strictly restricted. Some dinosaurs were still trapped inside because they had been mutated and weren't let out. The destruction inside clearly shows how dangerous mutation can be. Why would anyone mess with dinosaurs? Whatever is created through such experiments can turn into a terrifying disaster. Dr. Henry was in complete shock after seeing all this destruction. This was the same lab we saw in the very beginning of the movie. Both of them were just trying to survive at this point. Then we see Zora and Martin. Martin had tied the briefcase containing all the samples to his hand, but dinosaurs were still chasing them. Ruben's entire family crawls into a duct, but a dinosaur also enters from the other end. So Zora also climbs into the duct to save them all. Martin finds a car, starts it quickly, and drives off, probably planning to escape via the water route. If he finds a boat or anything, he'll try to flee. On the other hand, we see Dr. Henry also trying to escape. He was trying to distract the chopper so it would stop, but as soon as he steps outside, the chopper is still circling and can't see anyone on the ground. They only had about 2 minutes, and the chopper pilot had said he'd only wait that long. Just then, Dr. Henry grabs a flare gun and fires it. The chopper finally notices them, but suddenly a massive mutated dinosaur appears. He chews up the chopper like a tiny piece of chewing gum and tosses it aside, which means they're stuck. Now they can't escape by air anymore. Their only option is to leave by water. Through a boat dock, we then see Ruben's family inside the duct, and by now, everyone else had joined them too. Zora had finally reached them, along with Duncan and Dr. Henry. They all knew that this duct leads straight to the port, and from there they could get out safely and escape on a boat. But things weren't that easy. As they moved forward through the duct, they suddenly encountered a dinosaur right there inside the tunnel. Thankfully, Zora arrived just in time and killed it. They kept moving forward, but the door was locked. There were thick iron bars, and the only way through was a narrow path. Who could squeeze through that? That's when Bella steps up. She climbs up and opens the ceiling above, right as a dinosaur is about to jump down. Teresa watches all of this happen, just standing there, frozen. Bella rushes out, but a massive monster, practically the main lead of Jurassic World, was chasing her. Still, Bella doesn't get scared. She quickly unlocks the gate and everyone rushes outside. Just before the dinosaur could escape through the door, they slam it shut. Now it's do or die. Either escape by boat or get killed right there. Duncan shows courage here. He grabs the attention of the flying dinosaur, the flyer, and distracts the huge T-Rex so everyone else can run to safety. Zora screams, "No, no, please stop, please don't." But Duncan doesn't stop. Just then, Martin arrives in his car. But now comes an epic fight sequence because Martin was the villain, and it was only fair that something bad happened to him. The T-Rex kills Martin. He had dropped a briefcase, so Zora picks it up. The monster eats Martin alive. Then Duncan distracts the giant T-Rex again, and poor Zora is left screaming and helpless. But everyone else has to move on. They get far away, crying and broken, asking why Duncan had to die. But the story ends on a good note, because suddenly a flare gun lights up in the sky. That means Duncan is alive. He had only distracted the T-Rex and survived in the end. The T-Rex didn't kill anyone, and they even took Duncan along with them onto the ship. All of them together sailed away with the samples. In the end, Dr. Henry, Zora, and Duncan all decide that the samples they've collected should only be used for the good of humanity. The medicine made from them should be available to everyone. It shouldn't be used just to save one person or a select few, and Dr. Henry will now start working on that. Overall, everyone survived and safely escaped the huge island. And with that, guys, the movie Jurassic World Rebirth comes to an end. So guys, how did you like this movie? The story was a little basic, a bit predictable. Many things were easy to guess because it's kind of the same pattern we've seen before. A team has to go to an island. Getting there is tough. They gather a team, a few members die along the way, there's no helicopter, so they use a boat. The storyline feels like a copy-paste of so many other movies, but still, watching the dinosaurs was fun. Some things were new, the fight sequences were good. So overall, in my opinion, it's a nice family movie. Go watch it. Alright then, see you all in the next movie. Please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to like the video.